Welcome back to The Word with Wiggy. On today's episode, we will be discussing Matthew chapter 2, which focuses on the wise men, King Herod, and more prophecies fulfilled to show that Jesus was and is the Messiah. We hope you enjoy the show, and let's get started. Well, welcome to The Word with Wiggy. I am your host, Wiggy, and I am joined. Yeah. And we are doing quite well, I think. How are we doing this week?
Girl, it's spring break.
Is it your spring break this week or was it last week?
It's this week for us.
So your kids are home right now while you're trying to do this?
They are home. Yes. All of
I mean, you took off work this week?
No, I did not. Well, I mean, their daddy is here.
We love that. You know.
I mean, our schedules, we can kind of play off of each other. So when he needs to work, I'm off back and forth. Well, here's the thing. I was going to take off 2 days to do Kalahari. And so I looked at the price for Kalahari. Girl, Kalahari wanted $809. And I was like, oh, that seems really excessive. But, you know, we'll see what we can do.
Like 4 or 5 of y'all, ain't it?
Right. And so that's why I was like, well, you know, for 5 of us, it's not terrible.
Yeah.
If I do Kalahari this week, it's $800 or almost $900. If I do it next week, it's $250. So we're going to go next week.
So we're going next week for sure.
Exactly that.
Wow. So basically, they're on spring break this week, but next week you're just going to like extend their spring break a little bit. Like you're going to go like the weekend into like, okay, nice. Well, most people I think here were on spring break last week, but I didn't really realize until middle of the week because Omari doesn't have spring break. Like I'm bringing him, you know, to therapy and I'm like, where's everybody at? Like I'm used to going through school zones and I'm like, I don't know what's going on. I'm like thinking, I was like, was it President's Day or something? I'm thinking it's like the Monday is like a holiday. I had no idea. And then like by Wednesday, I go, oh, they're on spring break. I'm like, nobody's in my way, at least for that. But apparently Houston was the spring break destination for a lot of people this year. So the streets, like downtown and stuff, were packed. And it was the rodeos going on.
Yeah, rodeo. We have Austin Rodeo this week too. Yeah.
And it's been a lot of people out there. But in the suburbs, it was quiet because I guess everybody was out of school.
Wait, hold on. I forgot my actual notebook. I have one notebook, but not my other one. Hold on. This is the notebook that guides my life.
Nice. Love that.
Okay.
I love a big, thick notebook.
Can't do nothing. Literally nothing without it.
Live it.
Okay.
But yeah, my week was kind of busy last week. We had a big sale going on at work. Plus, I don't know what was going on, but I had a busy week at work last week. So I feel like I'm still recovering. And I went back to the rodeo again. So I went to the rodeo 3 times in this whole rodeo season, and now I'm finally done.
Wait, how long is the rodeo?
It's like a month or like 3 weeks. It started, I want to say the last week of February, like the cook-offs start, which you kind of need like exclusive tickets for. And then like, I want to say the first day of rodeo is like March 3rd or March 4th or something like that. And it goes until like the 23rd or something. So it's a long time.
I didn't know that. I think ours is only a week.
I think next year I'm going to buy the season tickets because it'll be cheaper that way. Because like if you go 3 times, like you pay $20 each time to get on the grounds. So then I've got to buy food too. Pass? I want to say when I looked, the season pass was like $50. So that's if I'm gonna go 3 times again, or shoot, if I get the season pass, I'm just go for anytime.
You be outside. You do be outside.
I try sometimes, you know, a little social life here and there. But I did take Omari. But yeah, my feet, they're dead. It's done. Like it didn't matter what shoes I wore. Tennis shoes, cowboy boots, hurt the same after however
You know
many
what's
hours.
funny? Actually, just last night was on, you know, I love AI. And I was like,
you've been putting me on the AI game.
I was like, I have flat feet. What can I do as preventative measures so that I don't have many problems when I get older? And I was like looking at different types of shoes, which is really going to be the hardest part for me because I love Jordan 1s. Like I've said that so many times. And the shoes that it referred me to, I had to put back, I'm not going to wear those.
Wow. What shoes was it?
It was like, what's the ones that you get at Walmart? Hoka's were up there. I'm not going to wear Hoka's, no shade. But there's this brand.
They're very thick. I have one pair and I'm like, you have to really size down because it's like, they're like boats.
They're platform sneakers.
But I be needing a platform. I ain't gonna lie. My foot, the way my foot is set up, I do need an old lady shoe, especially on my right foot. I need like orthotics, like for real. So yeah.
The Avia, AVIA.
I've heard that one. They sell it at Walmart?
Yeah.
I didn't know it was at Walmart. But yeah, Those are like are those the ones with the Velcro?
No, they have some with lace.
Them Velcro ones, those are the comfortable ones for real.
We used to get those. Well, let me not say we. I'm not going to put a large group of people into it, but I've gotten them in high school to like
Yes.
decorate.
I'm about to say that was a trend at one time in high school. Everybody was getting those. And I don't think it was for comfort. It was just like a thing. But now looking back, I'm like, we were probably saving our feet a little bit. Yeah, you know. But yes. Okay. Anything else from the catch up? Anything happened last week or the week before? Sorry if you hear my cat meowing in the background.
Girl, have you not heard my children?
No,
they
not
came
yet.
marching in here. You didn't hear them? They literally came marching in here.
Well, then maybe this platform is doing a great job blocking out the background people, because right now I'm like, my cat is meowing at the door because she wants to go outside and it's not happening.
No, everybody's been losing their mind this week, which I think I said that last week.
Yeah.
Last week we were preparing for Mercury retrograde, and now Mercury is in retrograde. But again, my stance is always like, you are unwell.
Yeah. And I don't even think I know what people always talk about Mercury and the Gatorade. And I don't even know what that means for real, or if it's
this year
real.
I saw micro braids.
It was like, is Mercury in her micro braids yet? I was like, look, I'm like, y'all can't, every time something going wrong, we talking about Mercury. Come on, man. Is it Mercury or is it something else? What is it for real? Or is it just we're in that day and age where everybody's losing their mind? Could be.
It could be. I like to pride myself on not losing my mind.
Yeah. I've been feeling okay lately. I don't think I've been feeling like I'm losing my mind. I feel like people are always losing their minds.
What did she knock over?
I don't know. I think she tried to hop up somewhere and almost didn't make it.
See,
hold on.
This is why I don't have cats. You see my dog? Peaceful over there, minding his business. Cat's over there tearing stuff up. Actually, I don't even need this notebook. I done told y'all. I done told y'all about them cats. I'm trying to tell you.
I do love my cats, but she did knock over a bottle of water just now. And it was like completely turned over. It's like it was just spilling onto the ground. So I was like, okay, I have to handle that really quick.
A dog would never.
Yes, they would. Are you crazy? I have had friends who literally, I lost my shoe and everything. I have had friends who came home to their dog literally dragging the trash around the house. So nah, I ain't never had that. Come on now. I've had dogs, so no one can tell me nothing about dogs versus cats, because I've had a dog and a cat at the same time. And they were both actually wonderful. I think I just like animals in general, but I think I prefer a cat as far as like when I'm really busy, because cats require attention too, but dogs are like, they really need attention. And I ain't about to go on no walks.
So chill.
I ain't about to go on a walk. You know,
no I don't do that part.
I don't have time.
I don't do that part.
Okay, well, sorry, audience. I'm gonna have to edit that part a little bit. I was just looking like, I don't even know why she hopped up there. We've been working on her not hopping on the counter. Yeah, it's kind of hard because they like to climb. So I really need to get her one of them cat trees. I'm probably gonna order it this week, because when they climb in something you don't want to, you have to redirect. Like a kid, like, okay, no, this ain't, because she's still a baby. It's like sometimes I forget she's only 6 months old, so she's only been on this earth 6 months, so she wants to explore everything. She ain't never seen all this stuff before. She ain't been here. Anyways, well, what are we reading this week? We are doing Matthew 2. And in Matthew 2, we get to talk about the wise men and a few more prophecies.
Some of the wisest.
Yeah. I really was intrigued by the story of the wise men. So Matthew 2 starts off with the wise men are entering, and they are coming to Jerusalem because they have been following a star, and they are like, hey, the king should be here. And the chapter starts at an unspecified time after the birth of Jesus. I know last week we ended with, Mary gave birth, and it's like the second chapter starts, and it doesn't really say how long it's been. As you continue reading, I guess you can say it's been about a couple years, but they are no longer at the end.
Yes. So wise men are looking for the star that says that Jesus is born. Here comes the ultimate hater.
Are we talking about King Herod? Because he is the ultimate hater.
There is no greater hater than King Herod.
He really was. And you know what I think it is too? He wasn't even a Jew like them. Like, he was in charge of the Jewish people, but he was not a Jew. He was like a random guy the Roman government put in place, and he was very power hungry. That was like the fuel of his haterism.
Exactly.
Because why are you so crazy?
Over a baby.
Yeah. Because the wise men come, and they're like, hey, we've been following this star, and we came to worship the king. But the
Yes.
king not you, bro. So where's the king at? And King Herod's like, huh? Like, he's deeply distressed by this whole thing. He's like, hold on now, what y'all? There's supposed to be a king? Like, because he's not Jewish. He doesn't know that a Messiah is supposed to be coming.
Right.
He's like, I have no idea what you're talking about. So he starts freaking out, and he pulls in all the scribes, all the priests, all the people. And he's like, you tell me about this so-called Messiah, so-called King of the Jews, and where I could find him. And once they do that, they find out that it's supposed to be in Bethlehem, right?
Yes.
But I feel like I'm missing something though. Let me go to my notes. I feel like there's something that happens before that. Oh yeah, when the wise men came to ask about him, they said, I thought this was interesting that they were following a star rising in the sky, and they called it his star. And I don't know, I've read the story so many times, but for some reason that part hit me this time. Like, we saw his star in the sky. Like, what about the rest of the stars? Are they not his too? Or what about that star told them this is the king's star? I don't know.
That's why I like studying it live, because I'd be having questions like that too. Okay.
Yeah.
The wise men called it his star because they recognized it as a divine sign pointing to the birth of Jesus, the prophesied king of the Jews. This suggested that the believed star was uniquely associated with Jesus, not just any celestial event. There was prophetic fulfillment that started in Numbers 24 and 17, which says, a star shall come out of Jacob, a scepter shall rise out of Israel. It was divine guidance. The star acted as a supernatural sign leading them directly to Jesus. Unlike ordinary stars, it moved in a way that guided them specifically to where Jesus was. So that was a differentiator.
I love that. And then I also wanted to say too, before we got all the way deep into them, is that it's not 3 wise men. It's not a specified number of wise men.
Right.
The only thing that they specify about these men is where they were from. It says that they were from the East, which we don't know exactly, but in that Tony Evans commentary, it was saying perhaps maybe Babylonia or Persia. What's modern day Persia? Isn't that like Iraq? Something like that. It's like over there.
I feel like that was happening in college, because do you remember Amir from college?
I've known a few Amirs in my life.
He was the one that was teaching me that. But
yes, I kind of want to look that up. Okay, I'm about to Google it. What is modern day Persia?
They were also saying that basically we assume it was 3, or people say it was 3 because there were 3 gifts.
Right.
But we just generally assume that it was only 3 men. But that's never actually stated, just like you just said.
Yeah, it could have been like 2. It could have been 5. You know, I think in our mind, we're like, well, each one presented a gift, but they gave some pretty good gifts. So it could have been like 10 of them, honestly. I mean, I guess that doesn't matter, but I feel like, you know, Matthew is so specific in what he presents, what he thinks is important. So it's like, okay, they're from the East, which to me shows like these people are not Jewish. So it's like, they're not even, why would they care about this star? Like, they're not Jewish, which always stands out to me because it means like God is for everyone. And that even people who, you know, could have been worshiping something else, like they really recognize like the power of God. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And then they were also, it specifies, they were called wise men, but the Greek term for them was the Magi, which the Magi, they're called like basically wise men or astrologers, which would make sense why a star would be important.
When was Magi?
Yes, it was the Magi, which basically means an astrologer. So this is why the star was, it's like, why is the star so important to them? Why do they care about a star in the first place? They followed the stars. Astrologers in this time, they were students of the heavenly bodies. So they were already studying the stars. They already had thoughts about what the stars meant.
And then this star was also moving differently. So they knew it was something special about the specific star.
And they kind of knew who it was for, right? They knew like this star was leading to the king, or leading to like the ultimate God, or they knew it was leading to something like so glorious that they had to go worship. They were compelled to travel like however many miles to find it and worship and bring these gifts. Like, that's crazy how God, like God talks to everybody.
Well, it was also a fulfillment of the prophecy from Numbers, what did it say? 24 and 17, that told them that the star was going to come out of Jacob. So yeah, all of that put together along with obviously their basic astrology knowledge, definitely.
What do you think about, and this is not even in my notes, but right now, as far as like astrology, I know some people like they look at it for fun. Some people are really into it, like it's almost like a religion to them, because I think it kind of low key is. And me, I don't know. I feel like I never want to look at it and turn it into some like an idol or anything, because it's like I don't want to take on like this identity, like, oh, this is who I am and this is what I am because I'm this sign. Because ultimately, I believe that my identity is in Christ, and that's like where you should stay. Like
Yeah.
that is right there. But I do wonder sometimes, like, I feel like God is so intentional. And this is literally just a theory. This is not biblical at all. So if you want to get in the comments and be like, no, girl, the Lord said, I get it. But sometimes I think about, because I've read in the Old Testament where people are using like divination and witchcraft and things like that and astrology. But I do wonder sometimes, like, God is so intentional. Like, when he made the sun and the moon and the stars, did he make them just for us to look at, or did he make them that they do stuff? Like,
I feel like
that they affect certain things. I don't know. We don't know. But you know what I'm saying?
I do feel like they affect certain. So I am a person who looks at it for fun, and I love when it actually correlates with real life. Like I was just saying, Mercury's in retrograde. But I do think that it can also be just like it was here, like a way of communication, right? And so
like he communicated with them through that star. So it's
yes, exactly. Did it have to end there? Why do we assume that there's no more communication within the stars and the planets and whatever else?
Yeah, and there's just nothing to
That's what I
tell me
think.
that. I'm just like, I am a person that I put no limits on God at all. Like I feel like
Yeah.
he could use literally anything, and he uses so many unconventional ways to get his point across, like these astrologers or like a talking donkey or literally anything. So I'm like, he is so perfect in his design. And you telling me not that we should rest our personality in it, that we should be drawing guidance from it. But like I've seen so many similarities. Like people who are born in the month I'm born in, so I feel like we act a certain way sometimes. Like, you know what I'm saying? Or like, especially I used to have a friend, we were born the exact same day, the exact same year. We had a lot of similarities on like how we acted. Now the things can change, right? Because some of those things may not be godly that you have to work out, but we're all born in sin. So I don't know. I just thought it was an interesting thing, because it's like some people are absolutely like, absolutely not. I
It's
am
the
not a
devil. Yeah.
Virgo. You know, like I've seen one of those Instagram reels where it's like, stop asking me my sign. My sign is a child of God. You know, like
Yeah.
So I just wonder, I don't want to be, some people think it's like it's all demonic. And then I'm honestly a person that I will always tell people, I don't know. I don't know, but I do know you can't make it an idol, but you can make anything an idol.
Right.
Like
You can make
I do,
anything an
you
idol.
can't be just running to it first thing, or like instead of praying, you're looking at your horoscope for the day. You're doing too much now. You're acting crazy. Because what is a horoscope going to do for you that the Lord is not doing? Like, let's be real. But okay, that was just a little side note I had. But yeah, this visit, like I said earlier, this visit from the wise men, it deeply disturbed King Herod. And it also says that it deeply disturbed all of Jerusalem. And I'm not sure if it disturbed them for the same reason. I think for King Herod, it disturbed him because he was so power hungry. And he was like, no one's coming to take, But I wonder why it disturbed all of Jerusalem. Do you think that they weren't ready for their Messiah to be back, or they were just kind of nervous because they didn't know what that looked like? Like, why would it disturb them too? Or was it just, I don't know. It said all of Jerusalem was also disturbed. And I don't know why.
I don't know. Maybe because they didn't know what was coming.
Yeah,
I feel like a lot of people fear the unknown.
Yeah, it could have just been a little anxiety on their part, which I guess is understandable. Like, you just don't know what's about to happen, because I believe they thought their Messiah was coming like a warrior, like a champion. So they probably were thinking, oh, it's about to be war, because that was the original. That's what those people thought, that the Messiah was coming to like overthrow Rome, overthrow that kingdom. And that's not what he really came to do. They were, it was more symbolic,
Okay. So this is what some of the stuff I think is interesting to look up and see what people said. Wow. Okay. So the presence of the wise men disturbed all of Jerusalem because their announcement of a new king of the Jews directly challenged their current ruler, King Herod. Even though we can look back at King Herod now and be like, oh, he was crazy. When you're living in it, they obviously,
Yeah, sometimes you're like, this, I don't know. I know the devil I'm used to.
Right, exactly. Because they said that he was ruthless. He was known for being ruthless and paranoid about losing his throne. They feared Herod's wrath of what was possibly to come. If this was true, who knew how King Herod was going to react?
And
If he felt exactly, if he felt threatened, the people knew that he would respond with violence and destruction, which he obviously did, right?
yeah, we'll get to that for sure.
I
He's
think that's the
wilding.
biggest part of it. Yeah.
Yeah,
So that
I
makes
wrote
sense.
that down. I
Yeah.
was like, I was like, why would he be so disturbed? I mean, that makes sense. They were just nervous. So the chief priest, they tell him like, hey, he gonna be in Bethlehem according to the scriptures. So in Matthew 2:6 says, and you Bethlehem in the land of Judah are by no means least among the rulers of Judah, because out of you will come a ruler who will shepherd my people Israel, which is from Micah, the minor prophet. Micah is in Micah 5:2, which says, Bethlehem, and I hope I'm saying this right, Ephrathah, you are small among the clans of Judah. One will come from you to be ruler over Israel for me. His origin is from antiquity, from ancient times. I love that verse, honestly. I really do. The part where it says that he's from antiquity, I love that part because it goes, to me, it connects with in John, which we haven't read yet, but in John 1, where it's like, and the word was God and the word was with God, it's showing me that Jesus is God. And he's been here forever. But he's coming. The Messiah is coming. But don't be mistaken. He ain't coming. He's not going to be born. I mean, he's born that day, but like he has existed since ancient. He is from antiquity. I'm like, ooh, I like that. I like the way that sounds. I got to read it in a few other versions just to like when I find a verse I really like, I'll read it in all the versions just to like see like how good it hits and everything,
That's a good idea.
Yeah, because it all means the same thing, but like they'll use different words to kind of get the same point across. So after that, they find out, and King Herod, he then secretly summons the wise men back. Now I noticed in my version it says secretly, and I wonder why that he did it in secret. Like, was it because he was trying to hide something from the priests, or what? Like, why call them in the middle of the night in secret? Like, hey, I need y'all to go to Bethlehem. This is where he's supposed to be. Keep following the star. And when you find him, report back to me so I can go worship him as well. Knowing that that's a lie. He's not going to worship that boy.
Maybe he didn't want people to think that he was worried about it. You know what I mean? Like, let me not show all my cards. Let's just do this under the table. I don't want it to be like, oh, I'm actually concerned. Like, I still got to appear. I'm not worried about anything, but y'all go ahead and take care of this for me on the low.
That's so true. Yeah, he probably was trying to appear like he had it all together, but in real life, he
was nervous. He was sweating.
He's like literally crashing out. My goodness. Oh my God. He really was. They say he flew into a rage. Like, oh no, actually, no, that was later, actually. I'm getting ahead of myself.
It's just so funny because I feel like this is so manipulative too. Like, yeah, no, so I can worship him too. That's why.
Manipulating them because they were the wise men, they were pure. They were like, we really just looking for this guy so we can worship him because we know that this is the ultimate king, the ultimate God. So we're just we're out here pure-hearted with it, as opposed to King Herod, who's like first of all, you already know where he's gonna be at, so why do we even need the wise men to go find him for you? You know where he's at. They already told you they're in Bethlehem. He told you that they're following a star. You being lazy, honestly. Like, but thank God he was lazy because it gave Joseph and Mary a little time.
I just think that's so relatable to real life too, because like there are so many times when you think that you're doing something with pure intentions, and then there's like a little something behind you that's really not, right? Like in many situations, like it could be your personal life, your work life or whatever, where you think that you're doing something with like a really good heart, or working on a team that's doing something for like a positive reason. And then it turns out that it was all for destruction.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my God. Facts. So after this, the wise men, they leave. They're like, okay, cool. We're going to continue following the star. And the star leads them directly to Jesus, actually. When they see the star, it's over the house. They're overwhelmed with joy. They enter the house. And they see Jesus with Mary, and they fall to their knees to worship. So by the time the wise men arrived, a lot of times in media, it is portrayed like they find them like right after she's given birth, and like they walk up on them and them the stuff. If you read it carefully, they are at a house already. Like Jesus was born in a stable. like in a barn. Some people I don't think realize that too. Jesus was not born in a very clean, nice place. If you remember in it's not in Matthew, it must be in Mark or Luke when you read it. When they go to the inn, there's no room at the inn where you could be like a nice place. They had to go to the stable. So when the wise men get there, they're not at a stable anymore. They're at a house. Like they're at their house now. So,
not in the manger.
they're not in the manger, and Jesus is probably like a toddler by now. Actually, he's like not even a newborn anymore. So they walk in, they see the baby, they immediately drop to their knees and worship him. And I think this is such a funny picture because I wonder I think Mary, she knew what she had. She knew that this child was God. So I guess she probably wasn't even surprised. She's like, oh yeah, they're worshiping my baby, of course. So they walk in, they give 3 gifts: gold, frankincense, and myrrh, which all represent something different, which I love what they represent. Did you want to go through them again? I mean, not again. The audiences know we already did this before, but
hold on, whatever that did on my computer, it shut down all my notes and stuff that I had open. But hold on, give me just a second. I'm pulling it back up right now.
That is so funny. I know, I'm looking at my note too. I was like, oh, it's so good that we have it on the computer now. I could just look at it.
I know, it's so much easier
right here instead of me looking at my notes and like kind of forgetting where I'm at. So you will get those every week, hopefully by Friday or Saturday.
Well, that's what I was thinking. I was like, instead of having my notes on a notebook, if you give me yours, I'll try to make time to put my notes where they fit in with yours. And then it'll be a lot easier. Okay, here we go. Gold, frankincense, and myrrh. Okay, so the gold was a symbol of royalty and wealth, signified Jesus' kingship, both earthly and spiritual. Incense was a fragrant incense used in religious rituals and worship that represented Jesus' divinity and priestly role, traditionally burned as an offering to God in the Old Testament. Myrrh was an aromatic resin used in embalming, foreshadows Jesus' death and sacrifice for humanity as it was used to prepare bodies for burial. So the gold, obviously, we all knew how valuable gold was to this day. Frankincense, honestly, fragrant incense is kind of in the name. But myrrh was the one that was like, what is that? What do we use that for? What does that mean? And that was one that we actually had to look up. And it was crazy. I mean, let me not say crazy because this is the Bible, right? So nothing that God does is crazy, but it just blew our minds. It blew our minds, the foreshadowing that is present in myrrh. Because for the most part, I don't think I had ever looked up exactly what these things were. Like, I just assumed they were 3 great things. Myrrh is used for embalming. Yeah. And then if you think
about burial, like to prepare your body for burial, it's great.
Okay, so you're a mom, you have a baby. Some men bring you some embalming resin.
What?
Yeah.
But you know what? I wonder how long she kept it. How long does myrrh keep? If they used, let me tell you something. If they used that same myrrh when he was sacrificed on the cross, baby, the wise men were definitely, I mean, I wonder how they even knew to bring that. Like, okay, of course they're being obedient, following the star. So I wonder if, like throughout this whole chapter, the angel of the Lord keeps appearing to people in dreams.
Yes.
So I'm wondering, it doesn't say it because how would Matthew even know that part? But I wonder if they were told in a dream what to bring, or is that just something that you offer kings?
Like some tradition, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, gold, we get it. But the frankincense, I read also that, that was burned by priests as in certain sacrifices to God. So it's like, all these make sense. Even though it wasn't Jewish people bringing it, that's the only part I'm like, oh, wow, how did these wise men know to bring something that is used in Jewish culture?
So it does say divine guidance, which we assume would be dreams, ancient prophecies, and also cultural traditions.
Okay, so it's like they kind of knew what would be looked at as a great gift.
So in Isaiah 60:6, it says that kings would bring gold and frankincense to honor the Messiah. Didn't know that. I'm gonna have to look up that exact verse. This is just a reference. In the ancient world, when visiting a king or deity, you're supposed to bring valuable gifts as a sign of honor and worship. Those 3 gifts were expensive, rare, so not common, and highly prized in their time. Yeah.
I mean, I just think it's really cool. And it just foreshadows like what he's going to have to do. The myrrh part, it foreshadows like he is going to have to die. He has to. There's no way out of it. He has to die for us.
But Mary didn't know that at that time, right?
Part, I don't know if she knew that part. I don't know when she learned that part. I don't know if he told her from the beginning or he told her towards the end. That I don't know if she knows like, oh, my child I'm going to have to bury my child. I don't know if she knew that. There's nothing.
Yeah.
That's what I'm like when she got it. Her and Joseph, you think they would look at it like, well, thanks,
Myrrh.
like that's cool, maybe somebody, I mean, my mama, I might need it for her. Like, I wonder if they used it like for relatives. Cause I mean, I'm sure it was something expensive. And I don't think Joseph were like rich people. I mean, I don't know if they were poor. It doesn't specify that, but I don't know if they were like wealthy to be, we got myrrh on deck at all times. So I wonder if like she used it for like,
The gold in the sack with the rest of it.
I mean, they were rich after that gold. I wonder how much gold they brought them. How much? But I mean, gold is worth stuff now. So back then, they probably were rich after that. I don't know if they told people, but it kept them pretty sound. Maybe it helped them with their journey to, is that what's next? Their journey to Egypt.
Well, before that, we get to the wise men being warned not to go back in their dream.
Yeah, another dream.
Yeah, so they're warned in a dream not to return to Jerusalem, and so they decided to go home another route.
Yes, I wonder what that route was.
Then we get to Joseph going to, where did he go? Egypt? Yeah, they went to Egypt.
Yeah, so again, Joseph is warned in a dream in his sleep. It's low key. The way I read it, it was like Joseph was woken up in the middle of the night. Like, hey, real quick, you got to get up now and get your baby and your wife and get out of here. So he gets warned in a dream.
That's what's so crazy to me, because now we talk about all the time, especially in church, we talk about how if you get woken up in the middle of the night, it's not for no reason. Go pick up your Bible, go get whatever God is trying to tell you. And it's just so different, because people be like, no, I'm going back to sleep, or I'm gonna just scroll on social media, I'm gonna turn on the TV, whatever. But back then it was like, hold on now, let me turn my headphones on. What you trying to say, God? And heard it immediately. And
I always wonder where they talk to so much more clearly than us, or do we just have so many more other things that are distracting us that we're like, oh, I ain't hear that.
I firmly believe that it's distractions. I was talking to somebody literally an hour ago, and something happened to him, and I was like, I feel like everybody's always like, oh, God, give me a sign, God, give me a sign, and then God gives you a sign, and you like, that probably won't God. So God, give me a sign, give me a sign, give me a sign. And I'm like, what are y'all talking about? Like,
yeah, like he already did it. Yeah, he did it for you, and you just walked right past the sign.
And I think that they knew to trust it more back then than we do now.
Yeah, and I think too, if you go based on your Bible, they were used to seeing like supernatural things. Like they weren't like iffy about them, or they didn't believe it. Like they were so like, we used to seeing a miracle happen low key. Like, what do you mean? Like these things can happen. Like they were way more. I don't know if they were just way more tapped in spiritually, but they were also like, there were so many other religions too that I think they just knew. Well, I don't even know if they called them religions or not, but there were so many like gods people worshipped and things like that they probably had seen a few things. Like they believed all the things that happened like in Egypt when they were coming out of slavery, and that was a lot of supernatural stuff.
A lot.
Yeah. So I think that's what it was. But yeah, Joseph is warned in a dream. The angel of the Lord is like, get up, take your wife and your baby, and you need to take them to Egypt and stay there until I tell you otherwise, basically. And they stayed there for quite a while until, King Herod is no longer. And Matthew says that this happens to fulfill the prophecy, out of Egypt I called my son. So this prophecy actually comes from the prophet Hosea, and Hosea 11:1 says, when Israel was a child, I loved him, and out of Egypt I called my son. So in the prophecy, Hosea is talking about Israel, whom God called his son and delivered from slavery in Egypt. And Matthew understood that Israel was a type of God's son. So a type is basically, and I think I mentioned this on another episode, like what a type is, but a type is a historical person, institution, or event that prefigures a future corresponding reality. It's like God called a lot of people his son, but it can mean both things at the same time. It's like two things could be true, basically. You know what I'm saying?
So before Herod dies, though, he decides to kill every toddler under the age of 2.
It's a bad scene, man.
And this is the haterade.
Yeah, like you are doing the most.
So once he realized that the wise men were not coming back, he gets mad.
He go crazy. He started going crazy.
This is the crash out right here.
Yeah.
That's when he orders them to kill all the boys in Bethlehem and its vicinity who were 2 years old.
He said get the suburbs
under.
too. I wonder how far out of Bethlehem he went. Like how much the radius? Like that's so sad though. Do you think that
it's very sad?
I mean, I'm pretty sure they would know that. that Mary and Joseph would eventually find out, like, oh shoot, they killed everybody looking for us. You know what I'm
I
saying?
wonder if there was like a mass exodus, like if everybody was like, "Oh snap, he killing people! Like we got to try to leave."
I'm sure
Because
they
like
probably
if
tried.
yeah, that's what
I'm
I'm
sure
saying. If
people were
something like that came out
trying.
now, I'd be trying to get out of here.
I'm sure even some of the mothers were killed too. They might not say it, but if somebody's trying to take your kid, you probably fighting for the kid, and I'm pretty sure you probably getting headbutt or sliced too. And they're not going to put that in there because well, they could, but sometimes
They could.
stuff about women is sometimes I feel like left out of the Bible just because of how things were written at the time. I mean, I'm sure there were some little girls who were killed on accident. I think they tried to kill all the little boys, but they probably was just snatching babies.
That's true.
You think they were really looking? Like, let's look
Checking
at the
diapers.
genitals.
Yeah.
Ain't no way. Like, come on, let's really think about like people and like how they act. Like, nah. I think it was just
I
a
mean, we see
mess.
that happening now with ICE. They're accidentally getting people that aren't
It's
supposed to be deported.
literally and having to put them back. Like they just round people up and they ask questions later. And we're talking about ancient Rome that they literally were just killing people for fun.
Yeah.
But I don't. And this wasn't like he was sending. I mean, there's to specify this, but I doubt he was sending like Jewish soldiers to do this. These are all Romans. They're under control of Rome, so these are Roman soldiers going out grabbing babies, and killing them. Unfortunately, I mean, it's hard to think about. I mean, it kind of gives reference back to almost like in the Old Testament when the Pharaoh goes through and kills all of the Hebrew boys. It kind of reminds me of that, honestly. But Matthew recognized the slaughter of innocent children as the fulfillment of another prophecy, which comes from Jeremiah. It shows the connection between Israel and their Messiah. So as Israel wept in Jeremiah's day, basically it wasn't the same. It was like a massacre that happened. But in Jeremiah, they're talking about when everybody was in exile, and like it was like saying that Rachel was weeping for her children, and Rachel is basically Jacob's favorite wife, but we'll talk about her one day. But in Matthew and in Jeremiah, it basically says the same thing, but Jeremiah says, this is what the Lord says: a voice was heard in Ramah, a lament with bitter weeping, Rachel weeping for her children, refusing to be comforted for her children because they are no more. And then I had a little note. I was like, who's Rachel? And it's like, it's his favorite wife. Because one day I'll tell you about how Jacob had 2 wives, about 2 concubines, and that's how he got all those kids. But it's a big mess. They should have been on Jerry Springer. One day I may have to do just a little story time video on that because it's just so messy. So then after that, right, they kill all the kids, and it's time for Mary, Jesus, and Joseph to come back. They're like, okay,
Yes.
they've been told in a dream that Herod is dead. All the people who wanted you dead, they should be gone now. So go ahead and go back. It's funny because like right after that, when the angel of the Lord tells him, hey, everybody who wants to kill you is dead, go back. Then he's warned again in a dream, like, oh, wait.
Like, hold up. Yeah.
His son is in power. His son is in power. So not there,
Maybe not all the way back.
Yeah. In the center. But so they ended up settling in the region of Galilee in a little small insignificant town called Nazareth. Now Matthew thinks that this is to fulfill another prophecy, which is not really a prophecy actually. Well, it says that it should to fulfill the prophecy or to fulfill what was spoken through the prophets that he would be called a Nazarene. Now a Nazarene, what I know about Nazarenes is like, it was kind of like, what's the guy who's a Nazarene? The guy who couldn't cut his hair. Samson.
Yeah.
He was a Nazarene, right? So they had like certain rules like they had to follow and stuff like that. But basically what I read about what Matthew was trying to say, he was trying to imply and emphasize what was written in Isaiah 53:3, which was he would be despised and rejected by men. And he would be a man of suffering. He would basically be a man who was despised, that nobody was really fooling with for real, like to emphasize, like that's why a lot of people missed that he was the Messiah, because he was from like in this town Nazareth. People were like, nothing good comes from
little old podunk.
Yeah, they're like, that's the hood, that's the ghetto. Nobody good. They haven't produced anything of value in years. So It's like Messiah is definitely not coming from there. But JK, he did. I think that's so funny, actually. And again, I go back to, I always bring up The Chosen, but in The Chosen, the show, there's a scene where some guy, I think, people were like finding out about Jesus, he's going around doing miracles and stuff. And there's a guy that like from Nazareth, they're like, nothing good. They're like, there's no way he's Messiah because he's from Nazareth. Like, what are you talking about? Like, that doesn't make sense. But yeah, that's basically the end of the chapter, I believe. Let me go back to my notes. Yeah, the end of the chapter is basically now they settle in Nazareth, and that's kind of like what you get from Matthew as far as Jesus' childhood. After this, we going straight into Jesus' ministry.
I feel like from Matthew chapter 2, we basically learn like you can't stop God. Like King Herod tried. This man slaughtered people.
Yeah, I really
Tried
wonder
to
how
stop.
many, because that's a
I
lot of babies. Like in a town, in a city, in a surrounding area. How many did he actually get? Did it specify that? It just said all of them. It
I
didn't
don't think
say like
so.
it was
Yeah.
hundreds or thousands or. But either way, I mean, it called it a massacre, so I think a massacre implies a large group.
Let me see. Yeah, I don't think so.
I don't think it was specific, but yeah. And then I'm just thinking about like all the things that they had to do. I mean, escape and go here and there. I wonder how their escape was in Egypt, actually. I wonder like
I
did they
know. What
have to
was y'all doing in Egypt?
yeah, I wonder if they like had a good life there. Did they have to
But
like let
also,
go?
remember, they had just gotten valuable things. So they could have been living a good life because they got the
Yeah.
frankincense, the gold, and the myrrh. So they could have been living a good life in Egypt.
And does it
And that could
specify
have
how
been,
long they were there?
I don't think so, but
I
that
wonder
could
what
have
age they
been
were when they came back.
a part of it too. Like maybe it was foreshadowing, like, look, y'all gonna need to go off and start a whole new life. So let me set
Yeah.
y'all up with, some money to be able to do that.
Yeah, maybe some things to be able to trade. That's so true. Yeah, because they had that goal. They were set up. Because I do wonder how long they had to be there. Like by the time they came back to Nazareth, how old was Jesus? Like, was he like 5? Was he 10? I know he wasn't old 12 because I forgot what chapter or what book we're going to get to where his parents lose him and he goes to the temple. I know he was like 12 around that age. But yeah, that's a good, I don't know. I don't know if we ever can find that answer, but I wonder how long they were there. Like, clearly Jesus had a tan, and Mary and Joseph, because y'all just out here in Egypt, Africa, chilling, and nobody is asking questions.
Right.
Giving brown folks, giving, we're all Middle Eastern over here.
Nobody can stop
Giving
God's
melanin.
plan.
No, not at all.
And even as a baby, right? So obviously between the birth and King Herod dying, since King Herod was killing everybody under 2, we assume Jesus was around that age. And even we've only read chapters 1 and 2 in Matthew.
That's
And
crazy.
I wish I probably should have kept count of how many prophecies have already been fulfilled by a toddler.
I would say, yeah, I feel like we're like at least at 6 in just these 2 chapters, because I probably could go back through my notes, but I know, I mean, it was a lot. Just in the
Yeah,
last
that's why I'm like, I should have
episode,
kept count.
I felt like we did at least 3. Well, just in the genealogy was like a lot going on. And then I'm trying to think that all the times that Matthew points him out. I don't know. I'm gonna say 5 or 6 already.
Okay.
By a baby. That's just like
I feel
my
like
guess.
it might have
Because
been more than 6, honestly.
I think we just did 3 right now, or 4. We did the Bethlehem thing. You did the star, the Egypt thing, the Nazarene thing, and the kids getting slaughtered. So that was like 5 in one episode. Last episode, maybe another 5. So maybe we're at 10.
Okay, it says Matthew 1 and 2 are packed with at least 5 direct Old Testament prophecies. Okay. And then it lists them out.
Yeah. Okay. I knew I wasn't. I'm like, we got quite a few, I think.
Yeah.
I love that though. I love the connections to the Old Testament because it's like, it just makes it so like, oh, this is so true. Like this is true stuff, because it's like, this was not all written by the same person. This was not all written at the same time, and it connects.
Yes.
Matthew and didn't know those prophets. They were long gone by the time he
Exactly. And that's why I love talking about it too, because I'm like, if I was just reading this myself, girl, I'm not about to go back and look up each one of those. And like a lot of the stuff I could just make up in my head as to how it correlates or exactly what's connected. But I really like talking about it because we get to go back and forth. And that's why I also feel is like so hard about reading the Bible by yourself, is that there's just so much background knowledge, because when you're reading the Bible, it doesn't say, and this fulfilled that prophecy. Like you don't necessarily know that that was a prophecy fulfilled, but now we're in discussion.
Yeah. And I was thinking about last night, I was like, because I was thinking we were thinking about doing like more than one chapter an episode, and maybe some of the times we can. It depends. I guess it depends on when we read. But I'm like, just these first 2 chapters, I was like, there was so much that I was like going deeper with, or like, let's explain this. And I'm just like, how can we do? I'm like, if you really sit down and study just one chapter, you could be there for a while.
What exactly?
You know what I mean? Like, if we really tried to, we could probably do more on these chapters. We probably could. We could probably
Definitely.
find out more what
We
people,
could go deeper.
what historical scholars have said, what people have debated on. I mean, we could do the most, honestly, but we don't want to go crazy, but we do want to go deep. You know, we want to make it make sense.
Yeah.
In a fun way. But I'm really excited though. It is making it more fun. I'm really excited to talk about next week is chapter 3, which is the baptism, which is when John the Baptist is going to get introduced. We're going to see Jesus get baptized. And then what else is in chapter 3?
Mm-hmm.
Is it just the baptism or is it
According to Tony Evans, it's baptism, temptation, and the start of ministry.
I think that is in chapter 4 because I thought we might do the Matthew 3 is just John the Baptist and then the baptism of Jesus. I did think about going into chapter 4 for the temptation, but I thought that I don't know. Maybe once I read it, we can see if what we discover if we're gonna do both. So audience, we don't, we'll find out next week if it's gonna be just 3 or 4.
Might be 3 or 4.
Yeah, because I think I found out a lot. I already took my notes on 3, but I'm gonna redo it again just to see. But I haven't even started on 4 yet to see like how. But that's the temptation, so I feel like it might be a lot there.
A lot, right? And relatable.
Yeah, and I already had a lot for chapter 3. I mean, baptism. I mean, I could open up a big can of a lot with that. We could share our own baptism stories, all things like that. So we'll see. But yeah,
what are you praying for this week?
What am I praying for? I think I wrote it down. Let me see. What am I praying for? I am praying for more opportunities at work because I've been really busy at work, but like it's not at where my budget is supposed to be. Like I'm real busy. People are buying more, but somehow it's still not enough. So I'm praying for more opportunities to fall in my lap, more deals closed, more actual money coming in. Cause like I think my increase this year was like 6% increase. And I'm only up like 3, so it's not enough. But I'm still, doing well. But I'm praying for that. And yeah, I'm just praying for that really. Still overall prayer of finding a church home, even though I haven't done much work to find one. So that's kind of on me. But that's still my overall prayer is finding like a community that is not a cult. So I keep praying for that. What about you?
So first of all, in response to yours, I wanted to check on Amari and his speech that we were waiting for, ABA? Yes. Something you do with his pediatrician?
Yeah, the update on that is I finally did talk to his occupational therapist is basically adding speech therapy to their services, but they're not quite ready yet. So I finally did get in touch with somebody. He's on the list. So that is a step in the right direction. But at first, I mean, I couldn't, there was nobody even calling me back. So there's been a little progress on that.
That's good.
Yes, but he's been doing good, talking a lot, honestly. Yeah, he told me yesterday, ride in car. I said,
where are you going? Where we going?
He said, ride in car. We went to go get some food. We went to go to Black Walnut Cafe.
You so greedy. I feel like anytime Amari asks for food, he absolutely can have it. Anytime he want to ride in the car, y'all going to get food. I'm like,
we could have went. I thought about going to Home Depot because I have to go to Home Depot actually today. But I was like, I need to be thinking at Home Depot. So I was like, let's go somewhere. So we were just going to go. He wanted some fries. Went to McDonald's. And then we went to Black Walnut Cafe. And I got him something from there too, actually. But I ended up eating it myself. Do y'all have Black Walnut Cafe? It's so delicious.
I don't think so.
Find it if you have it. But if you, next time you're in Houston or wherever, Black Walnut Cafe, they have steak frites. Or is it frites or frites?
I think it's frites.
They have a new steak frites dish. Delicious. It's a steak with some fries, a little side salad. You can't beat that. Couldn't beat it. And they got a good peanut butter cookie. I love peanut butter cookies.
Peanut butter cookies too. Reese's actually makes the slice and bake peanut butter cookies that they keep in HEB. Phenomenal. What? We crush them.
I did not know that was I might have to add that to my grocery order because I need to be placing one right now.
And then, okay, so it's funny that you bring that up about budget and how like the math ain't mathin'. So at my job, I'm not in sales anymore. I'm in marketing, but we learned that, tariffs and all this stuff that Trump is imposing. And so a lot of companies who either manufacture or get anything from international, especially China, are now having to charge more to accommodate, right? So instead of charging more, my company has taken a bigger cut of commission. So what you thought you were going to get paid $50 on, they checked last week and now you're only getting paid like 35. And so people were coming to us in my department and they were like, hey, what's going on? Y'all's numbers wrong. We were like,
no. So basically, instead of
not
imposing
us.
it on the end user,
Customer.
they're taking it from y'all. What's a
The
happy
sale.
medium? Take a little bit from me and give them a little more. Come on now, like, I mean, because I get it, because sometimes, like, when they impose the whole thing on the end consumer, then now you're not selling as much because they can't afford it.
Yes.
So I get it, but also, like, I need my money. Now I got to sell even more.
Which is what they want you to do anyway. And the way our company is set up, you can as a salesperson, you can kind of pick, right? You can pick what the customer's price is, which is at most sales companies. So you could, if you quoted them something, and it was $1,000 and you were going to make 50, but now it's $1,000 and now you're only going to make 35, you could potentially charge them more so that you still make 50 if you think that they'll still buy it, or you could just take the L.
Yeah.
But I thought that was really crazy and totally trending with what you're saying. Like, people's budgets are not about to hit the way they were.
It's been a year. I mean, already I'm like, I just didn't know how this year was going to go, because I'm just like, people are not, they're only spending money on like things they really want to spend money on. So it's like, okay, if I've run into people who've been saving to get their house redone, or, you know, or really I'm trying to depend on like commercial projects almost, because those are going to go, or sometimes even they're waiting to get started. But like, you know how much it costs to get your house painted? It's expensive.
You know how much? I know, because I have some and I know it's expensive, and that's why I'm waiting. Because my kids right now, you know, they're small. So I got hands everywhere, and I got matte paint. Everything sticks on matte paint. Can't do nothing with matte paint. So I want to get the whole house repainted with something better than matte, so I don't have all these stains by my doorways.
Well, you could do a high quality matte that you can still wipe off, but it would be more expensive, but you wouldn't have to. You would be, but you know, like, it's like depending on what you're looking for. Like, you can spend more now and be able to wipe stuff off later and never have to paint again, or you can use something cheap and have to repaint it, which you still, you know.
I want to get the high quality one and get it painted, and I'm hoping that I can find an affordable company. Well, because that's the thing, you can go to Home Depot, grab somebody out the parking lot, and say, "Hey, can you come paint my house?"
They could have your stuff looking crazy too.
And they could have your stuff looking crazy, or I could pay a little bit more and have it, you know, backed and insured,
and not get robbed later. You know, sometimes people be just picking up people on the side of the road. I'm like, you know, they case your house and they come back. Case your house. I want somebody who's insured and bonded.
So my house has been broken into before, not this home, but a couple of homes ago, my house was broken into, and I can look back, see my behavior, and see how I likely got cased. And like, I now get like mild anxiety. Fear not, I know, but I get mild anxiety about it. Paul, on the other hand, nothing. He just thinks that we are hunky-dory because he grew up in the hood and now we live in the suburbs and nothing goes wrong in the suburbs, like in his head.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no. We work a little bit harder now. I'm like, just leave him. That's how they know you're not home. If you just leave them. Like, I have so many.
Yeah. I think it's like how you were raised, because the way my mom raised me, it's like, we don't trust nobody. Like, I even told Omar yesterday, we were talking about closing the garage door, and he's like, because my cat has been getting out, right? She'll get out of the garage because, like, he'll open the door before he closes the garage. And I was like, well, I never do that anyway, regardless, before I got a cat, because I'm like, I need to see the garage door closed before I go in the house, because for safety. I was like, that's just how my mom raised me.
Can block it. And
my dad, like, he was like, somebody could come in and now they in your garage and now you done went inside, now they coming in too. Or they, you know, and he was like,
that's how I think.
What? But he wasn't raised here, so he's like, you know, garage, like, he's like not thinking that way. But yes,
that's how Paul is.
And I've gotten robbed before, not to my face, but I've had like apartments getting broken into and stuff like that. So I'm very aware of who I call. But I don't know, do I know anybody in that area for you? But I could definitely help you with you when you're ready to paint.
Yeah, it's gonna be a couple years. My baby's still 2. I'm gonna give her about 2-3 more years to stop touching my walls.
And I
you are speaking facts right now.
It's because it's all marks on the wall
everywhere.
I never understood that, and they
just walk up the stairs like this.
Yeah, and then in my mom's house, it's flat. Like, that original paint is flat white. You know, she's done a few rooms now, and you know, I helped her with the paint or whatever. But you just let me know when you're ready. I always help the people. At least I can get you a good discount on the paint, and maybe I can help you get somebody, a contractor. You know, I don't know anybody in Austin, I don't think, but I might. Maybe. Well, actually, I do. I do have a customer out there. He moved out there.
Perfect.
I don't know his prices though, but I do know him.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna write that down.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, with that being said, thank you so much for tuning in today to The Word with Wiggy. We really appreciate it. Wherever you're listening, leave us a comment, leave us a review, subscribe, leave us anything, leave your prayer requests. And with that being said, we will see you guys next week. Thank you for tuning in to The Word with Wiggy. We love learning with you. The Word with Wiggy is available on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and wherever else you consume podcasts. We hope you enjoyed this episode and that you subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Don't forget to like and comment on YouTube and leave us a review on your favorite podcast platform. See you next week, and don't forget to read your Bible.